When I was 8, my reckless brother fell from the scaffold of an abandoned building. I rushed beneath him as his human shield. He walked away unscathed, while I suffered brain damage and slipped into a comatose state. At 18, when I finally awoke, that same brother pushed me from the derelict rooftop to secure a fake socialite's legacy claim, leaving my broken body on the pavement below. But I reincarnated and saw the live chat floating midair. The hero's reborn at age 8. Last time he fell from the 5th floor and crushed the side character into a coma. This round, he's testing the 6th floor to see if he can finish her off. Once the side character dies, the heroine gets swapped in from the group home. Nothing will stop their forbidden step-sibling bond now. They'll inherit the wealthiest family's empire and ride into the sunset. Oh really? Tilting my head, I smiled soundlessly at my falling brother. When you die, dear brother, I'll find a replacement too. As I turned the corner, a shriek tore through the quiet air, hammering into my eardrums. Little sister, save me. Above us, in the condemned building, Xavier teetered on the 6th floor scaffold's edge, half his body dangling over emptiness. His face was bloodless. One hand clawed at the rusted steel pipe behind him, knuckles white with strain, while the other flailed toward me in desperation. Had I not been reincarnated, had I not seen those live chat messages flashing beside him, I'd have foolishly rushed to save him again. In my past life, trying to rescue Xavier, Chu got me crushed on the spot. After the sharp, excruciating pain came 10 endless years of darkness. When I awoke at 18, what greeted me wasn't rebirth, but Xavier's grotesque grin and Mia Sue's coaxing whispers. Brother, push her down, and the family fortune will be all yours. But now, Xavier overestimates his hero's halo. Still, with the stage set, who am I to refuse playing my part as the side character? Clearing my throat, I pitched my voice higher. Brother, don't move. Feigning a stumble, I lurched toward the empty space below him. My foot caught, just enough to kick a protruding stone directly beneath him as I fell. I struggled upright dramatically, staggering forward with knees buckling, my voice breaking into hysterical sobs. Brother, hold on. I'm coming. Don't be scared. As I charged forward, the live chat scrolled again. Hero's acting is flawless. The side character took the bait. Ha 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 ha. The hero's about to fall. If he crushes that side character, we can bring our heroine home. She knows how to charm people better anyway. I bet she'll replace that side character in mom and dad's hearts in no time. Plus, we'll save a decade's worth of hospital bills. That money could buy our heroine a nice handbag. I curled my lips into a smirk, my gaze locking onto a spot about half a meter away from directly beneath Xavier Chu, an abandoned drainage ditch, piled high with construction debris. It made for the perfect cushion, and the stage for my most important performance yet. I'll pass on that trip to the Western Paradise. Let their precious hero take that opportunity instead. I just hope they won't cry too hard later. Xavier clearly hadn't expected me to run so slowly, leaving him waiting far longer than planned beneath his intended landing spot. His patience frayed, his carefully crafted panic giving way to irritation. He even had the energy to shout at me, "Chloe, what the hell are you dawdling for?" The next instant, a loud crack. The already rotting wooden plank beneath his feet snapped without warning. This time, Xavier's scream was the real deal. His body lurched downward, hands flailing wildly, until he caught hold of a rusted metal pipe beside him. The sleeve of his school uniform was torn open by sharp, rusted metal, blood streaming down in rivulets. Xavier Chu panicked completely, his gaze like a venomous dagger shooting toward me. "Hurry up. One more step forward. Don't move. I'll jump right now." I immediately froze in place, tears welling as I nodded frantically. "Brother, I'm standing still." Xavier released the iron pipe at once and leapt down. The moment he landed, I rolled sharply to the right, my back slamming into the jagged rubble in the ditch. After the dull thud, I heard the unmistakable crack of snapping bone. Gritting through the pain, I lifted my head to look at Xavier. He was lucky. His skull struck a small stone embedded in the concrete, blood pooling beneath him. He stared at me, eyes wide with terror and disbelief. The live chat erupted in confusion. What just happened? The side character dodged. What about the hero? He can't die. I watched Xavier's gaze grow vacant until his eyelids fluttered shut, only then unclenching my fists. I exhaled in relief, closing my eyes as distant shouts reached my ears. Oh, brother, even if you die, I'll just find someone to replace you. Once again, I lay in a hospital bed, but this time, I won't be slipping into a decade-long coma. Seeing me open my eyes, my mother jerked upright, her voice choked with tears. Fei, your brother, he still hasn't woken up. The doctors say his intracranial pressure keeps rising. He might never wake up again. My father crouched by the ward entrance, clutching a cigarette box so tightly his fingertips turned white. When he looked up at me, his eyes swirled with complex emotions. There was lingering fear, exhaustion, but mostly that familiar misplaced blame. If only you hadn't insisted on going with him to that condemned building. Just like my past life, no matter the outcome, I'd always be the one at fault. In my previous life when I awoke, all I heard were my parents' endless complaints about the decade-long hospital bills and their relief that their precious son remained unharmed. Had it not been for saving face, they'd have cut off my medical support long ago. Having died once already, I'd made peace with their lack of love for me. Though Xavier Chu's luck is truly something, falling 6 stories without dying outright. New accounts really do get beginner's luck. I clutched my sleeve and shrank back, tears welling as my voice quivered. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I tried to stop brother from climbing that rack. I told him the wood was rotten, but he cursed me. What does a stupid girl know? Then he shoved me away. Lifting my tear-blurred eyes, I met my father's gaze. Dad, last time you also called me a clingy shadow, said I was always pestering brother. If I hadn't clung to him, would he not have fallen? My father's Adam's apple bobbed violently. His lips parted, but no sound emerged. I turned to look at my mother. Just yesterday, Mom said brother would inherit the family responsibilities, that I should be more understanding. Does that mean whatever I do is wrong whenever brother is unhappy? In the silent hospital room, only my stifled sobs could be heard. I wanted to save brother, but I fell and blacked out. Mom, Dad, do you blame me too? Nurses passing by the doorway let their conversation slip into the room. That boy from this ward reckless. Most planks on the 3rd-level scaffold were completely rotted, yet he still climbed up. At least the family still has one. Mother crushed me against her chest, her body trembling slightly. Her voice carried shattered sobs and belated remorse. We're sorry, Fei. It was us who failed to raise your brother right. Father remained rooted in place, fingers clawing at the cold doorframe until his knuckles turned bone white from the pressure. The live chat kept bombarding me with hateful comments. My eyes burned from reading, so I buried my face in Mother's neck. Let them rage. Their words couldn't change the inevitable. My parents' favoritism was coming. An 8-year-old's sharpest weapons are innocent questions and tears. And the staggering hospital bills wouldn't change just because the patient in that bed was now Xavier Chu. The day I was discharged was overcast. Xavier Chu had just been diagnosed with persistent vegetative state. The doctor said there was hope he might wake up. So for the first 2 weeks, my parents brought Xavier's favorite strawberry cake daily and read stories by his bedside. By the 3rd week, the atmosphere shifted imperceptibly. The puffiness in my mother's eyes gradually faded, replaced by bottomless exhaustion and a silent despair. Meanwhile, my father claimed company obligations kept him from visiting the hospital for a full month. During dinner one evening, my mother finally broke the silence, muttering to my father, "He wet the bed again today, right when I was there. I've had to decline so many gatherings these days, always running to the hospital." My father's chopsticks paused midair before he responded with prolonged silence. Hire a 24-hour home nurse. You can't keep this up. I kept gnawing on my spare ribs without comment. Another fortnight passed with Xavier's name scarcely mentioned at home. The home nurse's weekly calls became perfunctory updates about the unchanging condition. My parents would nod mechanically, not even mustering sighs anymore. My father even took down the only certificate Xavier Chu had ever earned from the wall and stuffed it into the storage cabinet. Their actions naturally drew disapproval from the live chat. How could mom and dad do this? The hero is their own son, with his protagonist halo. He's bound to wake up eventually. It's all the side character's fault. If not for her, the hero wouldn't be lying in bed, helpless like this. At this rate, when will the heroine ever be brought home? I thought they were right. Xavier Chu, lying in bed, could do nothing, but I could, a few days ago, to save face and avoid excessive concern from their social circle. My parents even transferred me to an ordinary elementary school. Now, it was about time to take the next step. After school that day, I deliberately took the long way home. I tossed my backpack into the bushes, letting it gather a layer of dirt. Then I picked a patch of concrete and took a deliberate tumble, scraping my knees until beads of blood welled up. I quickly smeared the sparse blood across my face. Once everything was ready, I sprinted back home. Bursting through the door, I let out a dramatic wail and threw myself into my mother's arms. Wah, Mom, they bullied me. Startled, she frantically wiped the blood from my face. What's wrong, Fei? Who hurt you? Those schoolboys. I sobbed uncontrollably, gasping between broken words. They said my brother's comatose, that I'm an unwanted burden. Threw all my textbooks in the mud. Dad turned ashen, seeing my pitiful state. Which class? Names? I'm going to your school tomorrow. This is outrageous. I clutched his pant leg, wailing louder. But they weren't lying. Daddy, I'm scared. Why can't my brother protect me like Dwoodwa's brother next door? Chase away those bullies. Mom's eyes reddened instantly as she hugged me tightly with a heavy sigh. We're sorry, Fei. We've neglected your feelings. You must have been terrified. What if we fostered a brother to protect you? I shook my head vehemently. No, I already have a brother. What if he wakes up? He'd be furious. Could you hire me a security detail who acts like a brother instead? Rumor was they'd adopted Mia Sue from the group home last lifetime because Xavier Chu made a scene. But my candidate isn't in any group home. The identity of a security detail. It actually helped him gradually integrate into this household. My father looked at my tear-streaked, miserable smile and heaved a deep sigh. Fine, we'll do as you say. On Saturday afternoon, I had the driver park at the back entrance of Downtown Boxing Club. Behind the rust-mottled iron door came dull thudding sounds, like rain hammering on sheet metal. The Ryan Pei I sought was right here. In my previous life, after regaining consciousness, I'd once glimpsed him by chance outside the hospital. He wore faded work clothes, intercepting Mia Sue, who was walking with Xavier Chu. His eyes were like frozen rivers as he rasped at Mia Sue. How did my mother really die? Dare you claim it had nothing to do with you? After being reincarnated, I spent some money investigating and learned that before Mia Sue became an adopted daughter of House of Chu, she had a gambling father, an ailing stepmother, and a stepbrother who earned money through underground fights. Pushing open the ajar metal door, I was hit by the mingled smells of sweat and disinfectant. In the center of the ring, a youth in a black tank top stood with his back to the entrance, throwing punches at a heavy bag. His movements were swift, precise, carrying an intensity that couldn't be contained. Each strike against the bag produced deep, resonant thuds. I took a deep breath and approached the boxing ring. Ryan Pei. The rhythmic pounding of fists abruptly ceased. He whipped around, wariness flashing in his eyes. Kid, get out. I tilted my chin up, meeting his gaze squarely. I'm Chloe Chu. I want to hire you as my security detail. He yanked off his hand wraps, revealing freshly split knuckles, and scoffed. You know where you are. Take your tea parties elsewhere. I know you need the money. Without another word, I pulled out a thick envelope and shoved it into his palm. 10 grand inside. Consider it a signing bonus. My reincarnation timing couldn't have been worse. The fire that killed Ryan's birth mother and Mia Sue's gambling addict father had already happened. Underage, Ryan couldn't become Mia's legal guardian, so Mia got shipped off to a group home, while Ryan refused all charity and chose to fight for survival. But here's the twist. This meant we now shared the same enemies. Nothing outlasts hatred. Not in this world. Ryan's body coiled like a spring, veins bulging along his tensed forearms, fury simmering behind his pupils. Unflinching, I held his glare, cocked my head, and laid out my terms. Be my security detail. 8,000 a month. No fighting required. Your only task is to fully integrate into my household and take my idiot brother's place. It'll be a long-term arrangement, but for you, it's pure profit. Besides, working with me makes settling scores with your enemies far easier. Ryan Pay fixed me with a piercing stare, his thin lips parting slightly. Why should I trust you? I was about to respond. A crisp, slightly exhilarated girl's voice abruptly cut through the gym's tense standoff. Brother Ryan, 8-year-old Mia Sue, her lopsided pigtails askew, darted through the entrance like a nimble little mouse. The faded clothes she wore still bore the insignia of her group home. Ryan froze mid-motion. When he turned, his gaze was glacial, his voice dripping frost. I told you not to come looking for me here. I'm not your brother. Mia flinched at his rebuke, but held her ground, rising on tiptoes to peer past the boxing ring, her eyes skimming over my tailored school uniform and leather shoes. Her face lit up as she suddenly mustered a saccharine smile. Brother Ryan, who's this? None of your business. Ryan cut her off, his revulsion undisguised. Mia Sue's sudden appearance took me by surprise. Some time had passed since the fire, and Mia should have been placed in a group home by now. Yet she seemed to have been secretly searching for Ryan Pay more than once. But the live chat erupted with excitement over their heroine's unexpected entrance, clamoring for Mia to avenge Xavier Chu. They forgot, however, that the present Mia Sue was only 8 years old, a mere child of 8, yet capable of burning her father and stepmother alive just to rewrite her fate. Such monstrous talent indeed existed. Ignoring Ryan's frosty demeanor, Mia sidled up to me instead, tiny fingers clutching my sleeve, as she cooed in syrup-sweet tones. Pretty lady, are you here to learn boxing? There's a sugar figurine stall nearby. My treat? I yanked my sleeve free in disgust, grabbing Ryan's arm to pull him toward the opposite side of the ring before whispering, "She set that fire a month ago." Simultaneously, I handed him the proof. Ryan's body jerked violently after scanning the documents, his gloved fist crumpling the material with an audible crunch. Mia still lingered by the ropes, peering around curiously as Ryan's breathing grew ragged, veins throbbing at his temples. I knew he believed me. After all, he'd always harbored doubts about the truth. He just needed someone to confirm it. I produced another envelope containing the cemetery transfer deed. I've already secured a plot at Pinecrest Manor. We'll move your mother there, far from that gambling addict stepfather of hers. I paused, my gaze sweeping over Mia Sue. There'll be plenty of chances later to make her pay for your mother's death. Ryan Pay whirled to face me, shock eclipsing suspicion in his eyes. Mia Sue seemed to sense something amiss. She rushed over, reaching for Ryan's arm. Brother Ryan, it's getting late. Come back to the group home with me. The director told me to. Ryan violently shook her off with such force that she staggered and fell, tears instantly welling up. Get lost. Looking down at the still lingering Mia, I left the envelope and contact details with Ryan. Call me when you've made up your mind. No sooner had I stepped through the iron gate than hurried footsteps sounded behind me. Ryan caught up, clutching the envelope and deed, his knuckles whitening from the grip. I'm in, but I'll be the one to make her pay. My gaze traveled past him, settling on Mia Sue lurking in the shadows, her covetous eyes fixed on my luxury car. The corner of my lips curled as I answered Ryan Pay. Deal. Tomorrow at 7, I'll take you to collect your mother's ashes. After everything's settled, I'll bring you home. I deliberately raised my voice, ensuring Mia Sue could hear every word. Panic flashed across her face as she rushed forward to tug at Ryan's sleeve. Brother Ryan, where are you going? Ryan shook her off once more. This time, she finally broke, sobbing uncontrollably before fleeing the scene. The live chat erupted in outrage, flooding with curses directed at me and Ryan. I ignored the storm, simply waving at Ryan. See you tomorrow. As I slid into the car, the rearview mirror framed Ryan still standing at the gym entrance, his grip white-knuckled around our agreement. Morning lights stretched his shadow long and sharp across the pavement, a blade unsheathing. 14-year-old Ryan Pei was far more capable than 10-year-old Xavier Chu had ever been. Xavier, someone's taken your place. Dawn barely tinted the sky when we completed the paperwork to relocate Ryan's mother to Pinecrest Manor. Standing before House of Chu's gates, I held his hand, his palms still chilled from freshly turned earth. I pushed the door open, nudging Ryan Pei half a step forward. My finger accidentally caught the frayed cuff of his washed-out sleeve, exposing the burned scar on his forearm. Mom, Dad, this is Ryan Pei. His mother's gone. His stepfather gambled everything away. He's been fighting in underground matches to save up for school, and just yesterday, he moved his mother's ashes from the mortuary. He obediently lowered his head, his bangs falling to partially obscure his eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed with visible difficulty. Uncle, Aunt, I know my status is beneath yours, but I'll protect your daughter with my life. When he lifted his gaze, the tragic beauty of his strength was unmistakable. I'll guard her like an older brother. I'll guard this home. Seems this morning's training paid off. Ryan Pei towered even at 14, already 180 centimeters, his boxing regimen carving him into a silhouette of coiled tension. Every movement carried an edge, yet the fiercer the exterior, the more devastating when tears came. My mother's gaze locked onto that scar. Her eyes reddened instantly. She seized his mud-streaked hand and pulled him inside. Good boy, come in, quick. After a weighted silence, my father clapped Ryan's shoulder hard. From now on, this is your home. See? They really do adore the hero, but it didn't matter. This was the brother I had chosen myself, and I trusted him completely. The live chat, however, clearly didn't share my confidence and erupted again. Are the parents insane, letting this guy into the house? Are they trying to steal our hero's inheritance? The hero will wake up. You know, our heroine is going crazy searching for her stepbrother. She's practically camped out at the gym, and now Ryan Pei abandons his sister to swoop in and take our hero's place. Disgusting. When the heroine finds out the truth, she'll despise Ryan Pei and that side character. Despise? I only hope she despises us enough. The deeper her hatred, the more eagerly she'll help Xavier Chu take revenge on us when he wakes up. If even I could wake up, then Xavier Chu, our hero, will definitely wake up too. And that's when the real game begins. Ryan Pei moved into Xavier's room that very day. 3 months later, Xavier's posters and shelves of action figures were replaced by Ryan's math trophies. 6 months after that, my mother packed up Xavier's old school uniforms, each bearing his name, and donated them to charity. Ryan Pei was like a tenacious vine, quietly yet relentlessly taking root and spreading, erasing every trace Xavier had left behind. Soon, his name was added to the House of Chu's registry, the bold print of adopted son overshadowing Xavier's title as eldest. My parents would always boast to relatives, Ryan's 100 times more sensible than Xavier. He massages my shoulders and even helps old Chu with the account books. Time slipped away swiftly under his deliberate cultivation and my subtle guidance. The year Ryan Pei turned 18, my father directly placed him in the company. Starting from the ground up, he learned with astonishing speed, handling tasks with steady efficiency, his methods polished beyond his years. A decade passed in the blink of an eye, and he became the suit-clad vice president of Chu Enterprises, his office adjacent to the chairman's. Meanwhile, I began my internship at the conglomerate. I set the documents on Ryan's desk as sunlight filtered through the blinds, casting dappled, flickering spots across the back of his hand. Review this corporate takeover proposal, I said. He flipped to the last page and suddenly looked up. The hospital reports Xavier's brain activity has shown fluctuations. It seems he might wake up soon. My pen paused, ink bleeding into a dark blot on the signature line. What if he does? Doing the math. It was indeed about time. The paper's tearing, Ryan murmured. His fingertips brushed my hand, light as a feather, sending tremors through me. I withdrew my hand, pretending to study the file. What about Mia Sue? Ryan's gaze turned frostier. Unemployed. Last month at the electronics factory south of town, a machine crushed her index finger. The foreman fired her on the spot. Now she lives under a bridge. I laughed aloud. In these 10 years, Mia Sue wasn't without chances to turn her life around. At first, she somehow learned Ryan Pei was at the house of Chu and came knocking several times. Each time, I had her thrown out. Later, when a wealthy merchant couple considered fostering her, I made sure they heard about her stealing from the group home. That ended that. As years passed, she aged out of the system entirely. Too old now for fostering. The group home staff called her a jinx and avoided her. Now, she doesn't even have a high school diploma, let alone college. Still, we never dealt Mia Sue the final blow. After all, when Xavier Chu woke up, they needed to see each other again. 1 week later, Xavier awoke. Necrosis had claimed his legs. They sent the amputee home. His wheelchair creaked across the marble foyer. Clouded eyes scanned the Persian rug. Ming vases. The crystal frame family portrait on the wall. Every detail exquisite. Yet nothing bore his mark. He fixed Ryan Pei on the sofa with a venomous stare. Ryan Pei, you're more the house of Chu's heir than I ever was. My parents' faces instantly stiffened with discomfort. My mother rubbed her hands together, explaining cautiously, Xavier, Ryan has been helping all these years. Helping? Xavier Chu slammed the armrests, his empty pant legs swaying helplessly with the violent motion. Helping himself to my room? Were you just waiting for me to die, to make space for your bastard? My father's expression darkened immediately. Xavier, watch your tone with us. His gaze lingered on Xavier's missing limbs. Undisguised weariness and disgust etched across his face. Finally, he waved a dismissive hand. The guest room downstairs would be more convenient for you. As Xavier drew breath to shout again, Ryan Pei intervened smoothly. Father, mother, it's natural for little brother to be emotional after returning home. And with so many sharp corners here, it's unsafe. Why not hire a professional home nurse for 24/7 care? His safety would put your minds at ease. Every word was impeccably reasonable, impossible to contradict. My parents nodded desperately, as if clutching at a lifeline. Ryan's right. You always think of everything. Early next morning, Mia Sue was brought to the house of Chu. When the housekeeper ushered her in, my parents were sipping coffee. My mother's eyes swept over Mia's threadbare padded jacket and gasoline-stained severed finger, her nose wrinkling in distaste. Fei, is this the home nurse you found? Missing limbs. Her. Xavier Chu cut off my mother mid-sentence, propelling his wheelchair violently down the corridor. His eyes burned unnaturally bright, like a starving wolf fixated on prey. As he pointed at Mia Sue, I want her, no one else. My father immediately objected. This is absurd, hiring a cripple to care for your. In any case, absolutely not. Veins bulged on Xavier's forehead as he slammed his wheelchair in frenzy. I decide, I've fucking lost my legs. Do I need your permission to choose who wipes my ass? Her. I'll butcher anyone else who touches me. His bloodshot eyes raked over our parents. What, am I just garbage to you? Can't wait for me to die, so you can play happy family with your bastard? Our parents turned ashen, simultaneously averting their faces. In the end, they capitulated. Xavier smirked triumphantly, flashing me a taunting grin before pulling Mia Sue to him. I smiled wordlessly, glancing toward Ryan Pei, emerging from the study. Mia Sue spotted him too, a flicker of exhilaration crossing her features, only to be instantly overwritten by loathing. That very afternoon, at Xavier's insistence, Mia Sue moved into his bedroom, dubbed, with mock propriety, for round-the-clock care. The live chat erupted. Perfect. The heroine finally meets the hero. That side character and that imposter Ryan Pei won't know what hit them. 10 years of squatting in someone else's nest means nothing compared to the weight our hero carries in his parents' hearts. All he has to do is throw a tantrum, and they indulge him. That side character and the imposter could never. I smile, accepting the strawberry Ryan Pei offers me. The live chat doesn't get it. In the past life, no matter how Xavier Chu acted out, it didn't matter. He was their only son. But now, with Ryan Pei as an option, the game has changed. Human patience has its limits. A spoiled, disabled, and utterly dependent biological son versus the well-mannered, mature, and devoted adopted son who's generated billions for the House of Chu. The choice is obvious. Late at night, I go downstairs for water and spot a sliver of dim light seeping from under the guest room door. A hushed, giddy voice leaks out. The severed finger is perfect. In a few days, we'll say Ryan Pei did it, that he tried to silence me. Once it's proven, Mom and Dad won't tolerate him anymore. Then, Mia Sue's voice drips with saccharine venom. Once we get our hands on the Chu fortune, I'll make sure Chloe Chu loses a finger too. Why should she have it so good? Just because she's a girl like me? I curl my lips soundlessly and retreat into the shadows. 3 days later, Mia Sue collapsed sobbing before my father, rolling up her sleeves to reveal bruised purple welts. Uncle, she wept. Ryan Pei beat me yesterday. He said if I didn't drug young Master Xavier, he'd cripple my other hand too. Seeing my father's silence, Xavier interjected urgently. Old man, are you fucking deaf? That imposter is trying to kill me. He can't stand us being here. Ryan remained unflappable, tapping the screen to play Xavier's crystal clear recording. Make the wounds deeper, bone deep preferably. Yes, blame it all on Ryan Pei. Mia's eager agreement followed. Don't worry, crying scenes are my specialty. My parents' faces darkened like storm clouds. Xavier turned ashen, glaring venomously at Ryan and me. I met his gaze with deliberate nonchalance. Installing cameras in one's own home isn't illegal, is it? As my father slammed the table, ready to erupt, Xavier suddenly grabbed a fruit knife and slashed his own thigh. Blood instantly soaked through his pajama pants, dripping onto the floorboards. You still don't believe me? That was obviously doctored. He howled, rolling on the ground while pulling out his phone to start streaming, screaming at the camera. What's the point of living like this? I might as well die. I leisurely pulled out my phone and swiped to Xavier Chu's live stream. Adopted heir abuses biological brother, while sister watches coldly. Within moments, a flood of netizens poured into the stream. The live chat erupted with frenzied praise for their beloved hero. Our hero's brilliant. He knows his parents dote on him, feel guilty toward him, and care about saving face. With this calculated play, they'll definitely cave. Every demand he makes will be met. Bet that side character and imposter are stunned now. So what if they stole a decade of affection? Our hero just needs to throw a tantrum to get everything. That's protagonist privilege for you. Still breaks my heart. If they just believed him earlier, he wouldn't have needed to activate Plan B and hurt himself. Xavier Chu indeed knew exactly how to manipulate his status-conscious parents. Probably pulled similar stunts repeatedly in his past life. But he overlooked one crucial detail this time. He was no longer their irreplaceable golden child, and no amount of protagonist halo could outmatch human fickleness. Before his parents could speak, Ryan Pei signaled for the waiting doctors to enter. The wound's clean edges indicated self-harm, not assault. The shallow cut posed no lethal risk, clearly staged for drama. With a few understated remarks, he laid bare the truth for the streaming audience. All blame was unceremoniously dumped on Xavier Chu alone. I rose slowly, snatched the phone from Xavier's hand, and terminated the live stream. Brother, must we air our grievances publicly? Couldn't we settle this privately without becoming the House of Chu's laughingstock? Look at yourself now. Outsiders will surely mock our family's disgrace. Xavier snapped instantly, hurling a fruit knife toward me. My condition? This is all you're doing. Had you caught me that day, I'd be unharmed. Why did you survive? Why was I left crippled? The knife never reached me. First, my intact reflexes allowed evasion. Second, Ryan Pei, ever vigilant in his duty, immediately shielded me within his embrace. Xavier could only writhe on the floor, his fury impotent, frothing with rage. He commanded Mia Su to act as his enforcer. Stop gawking. Help me eliminate them. With them gone, the House of Chu's fortune is ours. Enough. Father's roar severed the farce, his glare at Xavier dripping with revulsion. Without hesitation, he summoned stewards to pack Xavier's belongings, send Xavier to the sanatorium. He is banished from this household. Xavier froze momentarily before erupting into hysterical screams. On what grounds? I won't leave, just to make room for some imposter? With great effort, he propped up his upper body and suddenly smashed his head against the wheelchair armrest, immediately gashing his temple open. I'm not going anywhere. He smeared blood on the wall. The characters scrawled crookedly. Everything here belongs to Xavier Chu. This house is mine too. I'll haunt this place in death, if I have to. This time, even my mother, who'd been quietly sobbing, froze with disapproval. Xavier, haven't you caused enough trouble? You've been tormenting us. Tormenting Ryan, since the day you returned. You want to die? Go ahead and bash your skull in. I'll call the police to collect your corpse. My father was so enraged, he lifted the wheelchair and hurled at him. Get out. There's no place for you in this family anymore. You're no longer of House Chu, Ryan Pei. And I stood at the center of the living room, neither speaking. Xavier's screams gradually dissolved into whimpers as he looked around and realized no one would meet his gaze. Even his ally Mia Su crouched silent in the corner. As the housekeeper wheeled him out, he suddenly grabbed my pant leg. Chloe Chu, this isn't over. You'll regret this. Think you've won? Let me tell you, Ryan Pei kicked his hand away. Gag him. As the door clicked shut, Xavier Chu's curses and Mia Su's venomous face were finally sealed away. The house at last fell into silence. My mother stared at the bloodstains on the wall and suddenly laughed. Finally, peace. I knew they'd long wanted to kick Xavier out, but they'd hesitated, bound by his birth parent status, just as they'd treated me in my past life. When I was pushed off that building in my previous life, they must have felt the same relief. But simply banishing Xavier from the House of Chu would be letting him off too easy. The next day, Mia Su trended nationwide. A video of her media interview surfaced. She wept before the cameras. Xavier paid me $5,000 to frame Ryan Pei, to help him drive Ryan out of the House of Chu. He threatened to strangle me if I refused. Ryan's my stepbrother. How could I ever harm him? I anonymously forwarded the clip to Xavier immediately. The media outlets were my doing. All it took was 10 grand, delivered to Mia by a messenger. She sang like a canary. The live chat, ever loyal to their hero, erupted in fury the moment Mia betrayed Xavier. What kind of heroine is this? Have some shame. Our hero suffered so much for her, yet she sold him out for just 10 grand. Mia Su should die. If it weren't for our brother protecting her, that fire would have taken her too. Oh, even the AI live chat knows Mia Su's unworthy of being the heroine. Though, I never expected an offhand live chat comment would actually come true. The next day, Ryan Pei handed me his phone as I dozed on his office sofa. Still half asleep, I leaned in to look and accidentally bumped my forehead against his chin. MMPH, rubbing my forehead. I looked up to find his face alarmingly close. Willow catkins from the window caught in his lashes. Awake now? He chuckled, brushing stray fluff from my shoulder, fingertips grazing my neck. Xavier Chu caused trouble again. Squinting at the video, I saw Mia Su counting 10 grand with her broken fingers. Spotting Xavier's approach, she hastily stuffed the cash into her jacket. What do you want? Our deal's over. Xavier sneered, snatching her phone. Betray me? Then don't blame me for showing no mercy. Ryan played a second video. The footage showed Xavier dragging Mia to a backstreet entrance, lighter in hand, forcing her to sob for the camera. Woo-woo. I'll talk. Chloe Chu and Ryan Pei forced me to give false testimony, then beat me. They want to monopolize the house of Chu's fortune. Xavier Chu grinned wolfishly at the camera. Chloe Chu, Ryan Pei, you have 2 hours to publicly confess all your crimes online. That includes how you deliberately caused my decade-long coma. Otherwise, I'll release Mia Su's entire confession to the internet. Rolling my eyes, I had Ryan anonymously send the footage to the cops. 90 minutes later, Ryan still wore a troubled expression. The alleyway in the video happened to be where Ryan's childhood home had burned down. I wasn't the only one who'd waited 10 years. I looped my arms around his neck. I want front row seats to the show. Come with me. Ryan's lips quirked upward. As you wish, heiress. Brother, hold on. I'm coming. Don't be scared. We learned the details from bystanders later. When Xavier and Mia received no response, they turned on each other. Their shouting match escalated into a physical fight, a lighter accidentally igniting the gasoline pooled around Xavier's fallen body. Witnesses said Mia could have escaped, but the strength disparity proved fatal. Though Xavier's legs were crippled, his hands remained vice-like around Mia's wrists. They plunged into the inferno together. When they were carried out, the two charred torsos remained tightly entwined. Police found a windblown note nearby. Xavier Chu's handwritten scheme. Pin everything on Mia Sue, then play the victim for sympathy. The House of Chu will take me back. After my parents returned from their business trip, Xavier's name never crossed their lips. Mother just kept piling shrimp into Ryan Pay's bowl, muttering about how thin he'd gotten. Father slid the vault key card across the table to him. The company's seals. You'll oversee them now. A decade passed, yet my parents remained unchanged, still so predictably boy-crazy. But honestly, I came out ahead. Late at night, when only Ryan and I remained in the living room, he placed that key card in my palm. I accepted it without hesitation. You could leave any time. He murmured, bending until our eyes met. The chandelier's refraction turned his irises into prisms, holding my reflection. I choose to stay. His tea-scented breath warmed my skin. Or, wherever you go, I follow. Moonlight through the bay window illuminated our overlapping silhouettes. I laughed softly. Funeral expenses don't come cheap. Understood, my heiress.